Mauricio Pochettino is no longer the Chelsea manager. Mutual consent is the word from the media, but most football fans realizing that a breakdown in relationship has happened, and Todd Boehly and Clearlake have decided to not continue, to fire him. He leaves with immediate effect. What next for Chelsea? Good, bad, or indifferent, we want to get your opinions right here, right now on the Done Deal Show. Pochettino leaves with immediate effect. Listen, you've got to hit the like buttons for us right now. You've got to make sure you're subscribing right now. This is big breaking news across the world of football. He goes with immediate effect. Looking here, there are some replacements that are lined up that we're going to go through on the show. We're going to take your calls on the show this evening as well, because we want to get your opinions. We need to know what's going through your mind right now. Is it the right time? Was it the correct thing to do? Your opinions matter hugely to us. But to the news again, I'm just going to read it out to you now and put it up on the screen in front of me here. This is what was stated, that Pochettino could not see eye to eye with the Chelsea owners, Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital. That has been reported by Jacob Steinberg. And it says Chelsea will immediately start their search for a replacement manager, with a young and progressive coach being the target. Kieran McKenna has been spoken to by Chelsea already. That has been confirmed by numerous top-level sources. Numerous top-level sources. So I want to get your views and I want to get your opinions on that. There's so much to digest in this because so much news has come out, which tells you the Chelsea media have been briefed on this earlier on today. And they're now obviously going into overdrive because the news has broken. There's this comment here that says, it says that he's left by mutual consent. I don't normally believe that to a degree. That might mean he's not getting a big payout or he's settled on something smaller, but essentially he has lost his job. Joe here says sacking Poch is a disgrace, according to Joe Wright. You need to delve into some more for us there. I need to know what you exactly mean by it being a disgrace. I need to understand that fully from you there, my friend. McKenna, Mitchell on the list, then a couple of dudes I've not heard of yet. So the list of managers right now is, I'm going to try and get all the names right. You've obviously got Kieran McKenna. He's on the list. You've got, is it pronounced Michael or Mitchell or how it's pronounced? I'm not too sure. There's the Stuttgart manager, Sebastian Hoeneß. And then there's Leicester's manager in Enzo Maresca. I'm not too sure. Listen, I know very little about all of them, barring Kieran McKenna. But a new direction again for Chelsea. That's the only element that's grating against me. It's grating against me a little bit because you had Tuchel, then you went for an up-and-coming, not so much young manager, an up-and-coming but experienced manager. You then went for Poch, who is a tried and tested coach. He has won at PSG, and now going for a young and inexperienced manager again. The question I've got for Chelsea fans, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to throw shade. Do you feel there's a clear direction at your club? Let me know. De Zerbi or Tuchel? Listen, Christian, it's very unlikely to be De Zerbi. De Zerbi is asking for full control over transfers. Your board have essentially just sacked Poch because Poch wanted full control over transfers. So I just don't see it being De Zerbi. And it's already been publicized by Tuchel's camp and by Clearlake that they will not be coming back together in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely shocked, even though I kind of expected it. McKenna, not good enough. Bad decision in my eyes. Thank you, Kieran. It's interesting. I'm not shocked. When reading the stories in the last 3 or 4 days, you didn't need to be a rocket scientist to Read between the lines. Clearlake have made it so abundantly clear that they pick the players. Poch is making it abundantly clear, I want to pick the players, sign and sell. There's clearly been an unhappiness in terms of the strategy from both, which again for me is a concern. Would be a concern if I was a Chelsea fan. If, for instance, your manager comes in, surely he knows the plan before he arrives. And if he doesn't, is there an issue there? That's the question I would ask. Like, what is the plan? Why are they not saying eye to eye 1 year in? Surely they all knew sort of the situation as it were. But look, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your feelings. I've just put Telegram onto my computer, and I need to make sure that I have it on silent, right? Because I hate, I don't like notifications. I'm terrible like that. Honestly, I'm terrible. I don't like notifications at all. I just like to go in and see it as a surprise. I'm a bit of a weirdo like that. I'm just turning it off because it will annoy me over the course of this show if I don't get it turned off right now, people. But please do me a favor and hit the like and the share button. Please make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace if that's not been done by you already. The QR code you can see on the screen, it's a very important one for the course of this summer, by the way. That's going to be where we have a lot of transfer information. We've got a couple of journalists that are going to be working for us, putting stories and exclusive information. So go and follow that group chat right now, my people. Do Chelsea have patience for McKenna? It depends how good the football is. It depends how well they play. If he doesn't hit the ground running, then the Chelsea fans probably won't have patience for him. Do Clearlake have patience? Or they have there's no proof yet that Clearlake can run their plan and keep it consistent, keep their managers happy, and have patience. Doesn't matter what they say, it's about what you do in life, right? You could be a man that tells every woman that you're with that you don't cheat. If you cheat on them all, you saying I don't cheat means nothing, doesn't it? So Chelsea can't say they've got patience in a manager and then not have patience in a manager. It's as simple as that. Poch came into a chaotic club who finished 12th last year. To get them 6th is a miracle. Patience doesn't exist at that club post-Roman. So when the young coach is not ready for the club that size and needs time to settle, we don't hit top 4, then what? Sack another one. Stupid owners. Well, that's also an element that shouldn't be forgotten in this conversation. It should not be forgotten in this conversation that Chelsea's ownership set a bar of making top 4 this year. So if next season the bar is top 4 and you're bringing in a young and therefore inexperienced manager at this level, if there is no patience then applied, how can that work? Now, Chelsea fans, I'm not asking these questions to be a dick. I'm asking these questions for you to answer for me. Give me your views and give me your opinion. Moose Wizard here says, I have no idea how to feel right now. I'm a bit shocked. Yeah, listen, I hear you. Goldbridge to Ten Hag, Bill Goldberg to Ten Hag, you're next. He could be. Joe Wright thinks sacking Poch is a disgrace, is what he says here. I'm not Poch in, but when a fan's going to call these owners out, respect to him for calling them out. I don't think any other manager will get Chelsea 6th. I mean, they might. I'm not going to sit here and say I know that to be sure. They might, but it would be very, very difficult. It'd be very, very difficult indeed. If it's De Zerbi, think I'll die laughing. So listen, if they get De Zerbi, I'm the other way. I'd be a little worried. I think De Zerbi is a very talented manager. I'm not someone that kind of sits in that camp of thinking that De Zerbi is a bad manager or a bad coach. Just based on why he's leaving Brighton, though, and why Poch is leaving Chelsea. If you put those two things together, it tells me that won't happen. But I could be wrong. If the board are decisive, that's the two managers in the past 2 years who were chosen by Winstanley and Stewart need to be gone. Do the same for those two. That's also very true. So one of my biggest bugbears with the Glazer family, it wasn't so much, obviously Woodward and co were running things day to day. The reason why it goes from being the manager's the problem to the board of the problem to the owners of the problem is if the owners who are solely responsible in the end, the buck stops with them. If they allow the same people to keep picking managers and keep making mistakes, they are accountable. So what your ownership need to do is look at the individuals that said Potter's the guy, the interim is Frank Lampard, Poch is the guy, he'll get on board with us, he'll like what we do, they've sold the idea to them properly, the communication has been great. If it is Winstanley and Stewart that have been behind those things, they also need to lose their jobs because they haven't done their job right either. That would make this whole situation a lot better. I think it's a very, very, very good super chat. Poch's biggest gripe was the lack of experience. I wonder if the disagreement is with the under-25s recruitment policy. 5 managers in 2 years. Yikes. Well, O'Malley, this is the question I would ask, and I'd love to pose this question to the audience. I'm actually going to timestamp this question as well. Chelsea have briefed the media that they are going to get rid of the under-25s policy. I'm now intrigued to see whether or not they do. Do you think Chelsea will now get rid of the under-25s policy now that we have seen the manager ask for experience and he wants a bigger input on these signings? Not only they said no to him, he's also essentially lost his job, mutual consent sacked. It doesn't really matter. He's gone. He is finished at Chelsea. Are Chelsea fans confident that the owners are going to change their transfer policy now? You may not be confident, but you may think it's a good thing. I'd love to get your views and your opinions on that. The situation at Chelsea is unprecedented. No shock is what Miles 92 says. Terry, in the club statement, the last message states, until a new head coach is appointed, can already show what the board wants. And look, I'm not against the... Listen, so we have to break this down and ring fence things. Do I think they should have sacked Poch at this point? No. They just started to play their best football in the last 2 years, started winning games. The team had cohesion. They were growing. You could clearly see the players love playing for Poch. I think they should have built upon that. We're all able to change. Real men, real adults, really, real sensible, mature thinking people can change their minds when information changes. And I thought they probably should have stuck with him for at least another summer. However, if the communication hasn't been clear that you're not the manager, you're the head coach, and Poch wants to be a manager, then I understand the process. It's crap. We've made another mistake as a club. But you're better off rectifying the mistake than prolonging it. And I think for me, that's the key component that stands out in this situation. So I'm asking questions, but I'm going to be really fair based on the point you've just made. If they feel that, Winstanley and Stewart have messed up, they haven't communicated clearly to Poch that he's the head coach and not the manager. We're now having problems because of that. It must be resolved. So that element I agree with. The Chelsea board want a yes man. Well, that's good and bad. So when you say yes man, it's always put across in a very negative connotation. If you become the manager of Ajax, you become the manager to a degree of Barcelona. And I say it to a degree because they're going through some problems right now. You become the manager of Bayern Munich. You become the manager of Borussia Dortmund. These are famous examples that stand out, and I'm sure there's more elsewhere. Become the manager of Brighton, which is a smaller example, but still holds truth. You're a yes man to a certain degree there. The club dictates the types of players they sign. The club dictates the overarching style of football that must be played. You don't go to Ajax and go, we're going to start playing low block football. If you do, you're gone very quickly because the club dictates. So you could call that a yes man and make it sound negative. Doesn't mean you can't challenge and put your opinions across and come to mutual agreements. I'm not too sure if that's what Chelsea's board wants. I don't think Chelsea's board wants someone who rolls over and has their belly tickled, but they do need somebody that sees the same vision as them. I'd love to get your opinions on that, people. Players are unhappy with this, shocked. Well, that's the other side of it. That's why changing managers is dangerous sometimes. Yes, it can improve you, and Chelsea could be an exponentially better team next year, and we all look back at this and go, it was the correct decision. But if the players feel annoyed, if the new manager struggles, if Chelsea go backwards again and end up 10th, then it becomes or starts to look disastrous. I think something with him having one more year. I'm okay with him having one more year. TT back or better. We need to be back. We lost too many finals. We need to win Europa League to be fully back. Well, this is what I'd say to your press. When you look at the news, when you look at the stories coming out, it does appear as of now that the players that you are looking at, the managers, you're looking at, are very young and very, very inexperienced. We are going to share the link now. If you guys want to call in and have your say on this breaking news. If you are just here, Poch leaves Chelsea. They say by mutual consent. I never believe those statements. That's a polite way of saying we sacked you. But he leaves. Irrespective, he leaves. He's out the door. He is finito at Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea just alley-ooped Bayern. Yeah, I mean, Bayern now may have a chance to get someone. They could sell this to Poch so easy and go, look, you were always their number one choice, but you were just at Chelsea, mate. There's a great way of selling that to him now. Johnny Millions will be absolutely spinning. Yeah, listen, I bet he will be. If Chelsea stay, Messi would love Palmer to come to United. That's not going to happen this summer. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, in my humble opinion. But listen, if Chelsea players like Cole Palmer will not stay at Chelsea for long if Chelsea don't become a Champions League winning and title contending team again. That's not a dig at Chelsea. It's just the natural order of things when it comes to football. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was to happen. The last 5 games don't fool me. He's a cowardly coach. And you know what, Alex? Listen, I'll give you respect for that. You know, it's an interesting thing, right? Because a lot of Chelsea fans were telling me the last 5 games were not an anomaly. It was proper. It was real football. It was the team clicking. Maybe some are being honest like Alex, where no, actually, we just kind of got it right for a few games. The pressure was off. We shouldn't be reading too much into this. So again, Chelsea fans, I want your true, humble opinions on what you think and on what you feel. Trying to get some of the Chelsea guys on from the group chat. I'm not too sure where they are right now. I know KJ's probably sent out a few links to them as well. This is a big indictment on Chelsea. Won't even allow the coach to have input on players again. It's baffling that some of their fans have faith in the ownership. Clear Lake is clearly Clown Lake, is what Joshua Jack has got to say here. Joshua Jack not happy at all. I'd take Stuttgart manager. I can't pronounce the name with that word in it, over De Zerbi. Look, Stuttgart had a really good season. I want to shout out someone on that. By the way, Strasbourg Steve, if you're watching, he did predict about 4 months ago that Stuttgart would finish ahead of Bayern Munich. He got laughed at, but it's ended up coming absolutely true. KJ joining me on the stream right now. We're going to get more calls very, very soon indeed. But KJ, the breaking news tonight. Mauricio has been removed, sacked, dismissed, whatever word you want to use. He is no longer the Chelsea manager. Talk to us, bro.
Madness. I think Clear Lake clearly watched Gladiator and said, are you not entertained? Because that's all they're doing right now, is entertaining the masses. They entertain the transfer market with all their signings, all their hijacks that they've tried to do. Now they're entertaining us with how many different managers you can try and get within the space of 2 to 3 years. It's madness. It's madness. But I am thoroughly entertained as a Man United fan, because it just shows me they still haven't got things figured out. I know some of the Chelsea fans are saying, no, they're getting it right. They will get it right. I trust them to get things right. But none of the signs so far showed me that they're going to get it right anytime soon. Maybe in 5 years' time, they calm down and figure it out. But right now, they're all over the place. Like they are. And this next manager has to be the one they truly actually back, because they said they was going to back Potter and give him time, didn't do it. Said they was going to back Poch and give him time, didn't do it. You can't do it 3 times on a bounce with a manager, because if you do it 3 times on a bounce with a manager, that really shows that you're not in a good place and you don't know what you're doing. So this next appointment, whether it is someone inexperienced, whether it is someone who's a winner or someone who's in between, you have to actually trust them and actually do their job. Because right now, as much as Chelsea fans don't want to hear it, you are in the same boat as Man United. We're in you're heading to that territory. You are. You're on the train with us right now. They need to stop doing this, honestly. And Poch, does he deserve to be sacked? Maybe. If you look at the entire of the season, you can say there were some sackable offenses in there, sure. But when your team finally gets into form, when your team finally gets to playing well and starts to click and actually showing signs of progress, now's not the time to sack him. If you want to sack him, do it earlier when things weren't good. They have bought so many young players. They've bought a ridiculous amount of young players, and they have failed to give them a chance of consistency and stability by changing manager all the time. So how are we supposed to expect this Chelsea team to go up to the next level, to go and get fourth, to go in the challenge for titles, if they don't know who their manager is going to be? If these were world-class experienced players, I would understand just getting rid of the manager and just getting a guy who will win trophies. But these players need time, consistency, patience. They need stability. And Chelsea have not been giving them that at all. So I know Don said that if everything goes right next season, they could possibly challenge. But this is, I don't see it. Personally, I just don't see it.
I suppose the question now is, for everything to go right, you look at the 4 names, and I'm looking at the 4 names again now in front of me. This is from Matt Law, who broke all the news tonight. If you look at the 4 names that are out here, you've got the Stuttgart manager, who I'm not particularly familiar with, Sebastian Holness. They've got Girona's manager, is it Mikel? They've got Kieran McKenna, and you've got Enzo Maresca. Now, the managers I'm very unfamiliar on. I'm not going to sit here and say good, bad, or indifferent, because that would be disingenuous of me. It really, really would. But there's no one on that list that jumps out at me where I go, that guy's going to get them back to the top. Are they going to be in the same position in 12 months' time with not being in the top 4, the young and inconsistencies in the squad, half the fan base going crazy that it's not good enough and not up to Chelsea standards, the other half saying, we need to be patient, we need to give this time? That's the question. They also need to buy right in the transfer window. And remember, the biggest question here, they have solved their financial issues for a year or so by selling the assets. That has stopped them from being in a position where they're going to breach FFP or profit and sustainability. We know that for a fact, based on what they've sold. If they're not back in that Champions League and they're not growing the revenues organically, how can they keep progressing? These are genuine questions that I think have to be answered. I know Chelsea fans wanted him out a few months ago, but he started to turn it around, started to win games, and it's not just the sacking him, it's the managers you're linked to. And what it appears to me, and maybe I'm projecting a bit here because of what my club has done, the head coach announcement on the website, which has been pointed out to us on the show, and it feels like starting again, or at least taking some steps back to go, right, now we're not starting all over again completely, but now we're doing it with a head coach and not a manager. And it's just that reset button again. I would be worried about if it was me. Ashley, who is a Chelsea fan, actually, we're about to click and then it disappeared. I hate it when Streamer does that. It says, good riddance. We need an elite manager that can teach defense. But this is the point, Ash. The 4 managers you're talking to, I don't think come in. 2 of them have just come up from the Championship. Girona have had a very good year. There's no doubt about it. And then you've got the Stuttgart manager. You can't look at any 4 of them and say they're elite. So this is the question that you've got. This is what you've got to do, Chelsea fans. It isn't just about sacking your manager. It's who is going to replace him. Because right now, one of the biggest trending names is Kieran McKenna. If Kieran McKenna comes in, Ash, do you still think good riddance? Is it still the right move by Clearlake? Let us know in the comments section below. We've got some fans coming on now. We've got David who's joining us now. Winter Surfer is on the show with us as well. We've got Samuel joining us on here too. Plus, we're going to add some more in a moment. I'm also going to throw Chris into the mix as well. Welcome, everybody, to the New Look Done Deal show as well. But David, talk to us. Poch has gone.
I don't get it. But I also get it, but I don't get it. It's weird. I don't like the decision because I think what the club needs is stability. And he finally got to a point when he was doing the right things and it was all working and the team was playing well and so on and so forth. So I thought he deserved time. However, if you want to look at it from the other point of view, everyone needs to be pulling in the same direction in order to get to where Chelsea need to be. And if Poch and the owners and the scout team and whatever can't see eye to eye because Poch wants his own input on stuff, then I understand why he's gone. But you now need to find someone who is willing to not blindly trust in Winstanley and Stewart, but it almost needs to be Winstanley and Stewart need to identify who this manager is, who has been worth to go through all the other 5 managers we've already had to progress the team into a better position than it was before. And I don't know who that manager is personally.
How do you feel about the link? The 4 managers that are being named, as I've already stated, Stuttgart's manager, you probably know a little bit more about him because you watch the Bundesliga. You've got McKenna, you've got Enzo from Leicester City. Are these the names that inspire you and make you feel excited about the next appointment?
Not really. Stuttgart's managers, they play good enough football, but Bundesliga ? Because Bundesliga teams play the same way to each other. There's no one really sits back and sits in a back, 10 and just sits behind the ball. Everyone leaves gaps in behind. So the football can be expansive, but is it going to work in the Premier League? But ? I don't want Kieran McKenna or Enzo because Enzo's, I think, managed 1 season at Leicester, and Kieran McKenna is completely unproven at any high standard. And Michel, he did well with Girona. Do I know anything about him? Not really. So I can't comment on it, but it's a weird one because for me personally, again, I don't have Twitter, but if I did and I went online, fans to be happy. But the feeling I'm getting when I look at the comments and so on is that they're not. But I don't understand that because most of them wanted him out anyway. So I think the fans are even more confused than the owners. So I think our whole club's just a mess.
Do you feel like the last few months where Chelsea have been winning has changed some people's minds about Poch to a point where now they're confused if they want him to go or have
genuinely, Samuel, I think it's been like 4 games. Chelsea fans all seem to have been like this. It's literally been like this. And I kept saying to everyone, if you're watching our games and you think Pochettino is the main issue, I think you're being lazy because there were so many games this season. We finished 6 points of Champions League. That's how close it was. We are 2 sterling, I'll square the ball instead of take the shot myself, passes away from Champions League. It's that close. But I think the whole Poch actually might not be the worst option was similar to the Thomas Tuchel. He might not be the worst manager in the world sort of situation where you had the manager was outperforming everyone's expectations. So people were like, well, I kind of have to back him now because he's actually doing well. But do they actually like him? Not really. That's what I feel like we ended up in a situation with. But
I hear you on that. Winter Surfer, how are you feeling about all this?
I'm glad they took a view of the whole season because of the whole season, he's been, if I'm being fair, he's been bang average. And on the pitch, there's more. If you're doing a pros and cons list, you would need more pages on the cons side than the pros list for him this season. And I'm glad they weren't seduced by the last 5.5 games. And let's be fair, that even the last 2 games we played, we were rubbish against Forest and Bournemouth. But David said it right. If they went into a meeting and both sides said, we want to work this way, no, I want to work that way, but they can't come to a decision, then there's no point carrying on, right? Because otherwise you just build up resentment of it moving forward. And then David and I are here like November, December going, why does he keep talking about the board? He's like, why don't he just sack him and just get on with it? And then we're writing off another season.
Yeah,
but what it does now is sole focus now, and it should be anyway, is on directors and the board. The sole focus of this fan base should be on directors and the board to get this right. Now, is it too much of a coincidence, no matter what you think of him, that yesterday there was a report that some club played to get De Zerbi or compensation or what out, and then 24 hours later, Poch is departing. What I don't want to be here, Terry. I don't want to be on a show next week with you still going, "Who's the Chelsea boss?" Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, because
It needs, if it's quick, then it tells you there's a plan. I mean, the issue with, I mean, it could be De Zerbi, it could be completely left field, but these are the four names. These are the four names that are being mentioned, as you can all see on the screen right now, and that's come from Matt Law, who broke the news. There doesn't appear to be anybody kind of coming in that's considered to be more elite. Like, when you see these names, like, how do you feel about them individually, mate?
So I read, to be fair on Matt Laws, he said these names will be considered. So I take on the pod that they're added to a list of whatever's there. Now, like I say, I'm with David. I immediately write off the bottom two already because I just don't think they're ready. And by the way, some Leicester fans wanted their manager out this season when they gave up a 17-point lead at the top of the championship. Kieran McKenna, he was linked to your mob last week. I think he's only getting linked because he was part of Man United to begin with. I'm not too familiar with Honus, to be honest with you. Michelle, I don't know. It's a big step. That's what it is. And that's why it all focuses on the board. It's on the board and the directors because they need to get this right. They need to get, as when everyone gets sacked, they need to get this right. But I don't know. But like I said, this summer's busy for football. We've got the Euros, we've got the Copa America, and then some of our players are going to the Olympics as well. People forget that. So I need a guy in at least. I need a guy preferably by the end of this week. That's what we need. We need someone in. So hopefully they've done that.
One thing I will say, Stuttgart's average age of squad is 24 and a half. So again, he is used to working, I'm assuming, because I do know a few players at Stuttgart, and they do have some, decent young players, and they have developed a lot this season. So if they are going to go, for me personally, out of those four names, he'd be number one. But it's the thing that you've got to think about is has it been worth for Chelsea to go through all this hassle to end up back at kind of square one, but maybe not square one? Is it worth getting rid of Poch to bring in this new guy because he's going to be exponentially better than Poch?
So just on that, what Matt Law has also put out, someone just sent through to me, just so that Chelsea fans are aware, that Chelsea have no plans to go back to Thomas Tuchel, Jose Mourinho, or Antonio Conte. So any Chelsea fans holding out hope for that to happen, it's not gonna happen. They will not be going back in for any of those past managers who probably have the best CVs, well, barring Ancelotti, out there. CB's with us. CB, bro, what's going through your mind right now?
Done an emergency call in. I'm using my phone. I left my webcam. I put my holiday on pause. I am absolutely seething. Let me find somewhere to sit this down. I am absolutely seething. I've never done a stream on my phone, so I don't know how to really. Anyway, I'll just hold it up. First and foremost, I don't think anything changes. The issues once again just shows the incompetence of the directors. The fact that they've sacked Poch after sacking Potter, after sacking Tuchel, after a certain while. The last two coaches were their hires. So the people that you guys are bringing in, you guys are falling out with. I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, now at what point do we hold you guys accountable as the directors and decision makers at the club? Surely. Because now, do we as a fan base trust you for the next manager hire? If for those of you who wanted Poch gone, they brought in Poch, do you trust them to bring the next man? Or, it doesn't really make sense to me. And then I look at the situation in terms of Pochettino. They said it was mutual consent. They fell out over signings, having a say in signings. What is happening is what I've been telling you guys from the very beginning, that Poch was a yes man. And after a while, we realized, okay, my fate is looking bad here. Let me put my foot down and try and make change. As a fan base, we've all been pushing the hashtag change the model as Chelsea fans. This just all but confirms that the model isn't changing. And they're really hell-bent on sticking to this form of football, this form of recruitment with the football team. And I'm at a point now where I'm feeling like I'm going to have to do a Donald Trump and do an MCGA, make Chelsea greater, can go to games with a red hat. The way things are looking is grim. I look at the managers that were being linked to in this Matt Law article. A Stuttgart manager, Michel. Ipswich manager, McKenna. Leicester City manager. There is already one Enzo at the club. Do we need two? A Leicester City manager. And then the fourth one, I can't even think off the top of my head. Yes, thank you. I can't even think off the top of my head. It's gone to the point where I'm looking at that. Them 4 names, they have no UCL knockout ties wins combined. 0. This is the level of people we're hiring. When are people going to realize the standard is in the sewers? And they're doing this because they're so hell-bent on their model. I didn't even see the Thomas Tuchel brief because I was saying, I saw Pletigo release something about Thomas Tuchel. And I said, okay, if it's Tuchel, I will take it. If it's Ancelotti and Alonso, these type of managers of that ilk that will generally raise the level of these players, I will take it. Because the truth is, the squad's still not good enough. We still need a goalkeeper. We still need a left back. We still need 2 centre backs. We need a DM. We need a Gallagher replacement. Ideally, a destroyer in midfield, a ground beater. We still need a winger. And we still need a striker. So I'm looking at that like we need a completely new team. First and foremost, the whole spine. We spent $1 billion with no spine. A lot of these players, their stocks have dropped. These are all issues that the directors have caused. The stocks of these players have dropped. The money that we've spent into the team clearly hasn't been invested correctly because we don't have a spine. We don't have a number 1 goalkeeper, a number 1 centre half, a main man in the middle that's really dictating stuff, or a striker. So I look at that with $1 billion spent. You've hired 2 managers, which it hasn't worked out with. That's once again, I'm holding you accountable for. So now I'm going to have to trust you to bring in the next man and spend a bunch of money this summer window. Based on what evidence? The sample size shows that you guys have been failures and incompetent.
I totally get that. I want to also point out as well what Matt Law has also said. The next manager of Chelsea will be under pressure to deliver Champions League football and compete for trophies. And that's why I asked a question maybe 20 minutes ago on the show. If they're going for a young and inexperienced manager with a young and inexperienced squad, with a fan base where at least 50% of the fan base doesn't have patience, with a board that have proven they don't have patience, I don't see how that works. I don't see how, when you add all those things together, you progress. I don't know how you see that, David, knowing that the new McKenna's coming in as an example, and he's got to get Champions League finishing the Champions League places and win trophies with this squad and with his lack of experience. Does this make sense in your opinion, David?
Not really, but at the same time, the squad should be better this season than it was last season. Because last season, none of them had any Prem experience. Now all of them have a season of Prem experience. So they should have less up and downs, but it's still hard to say, well, you should now you've had your season, now do this. That's really hard to do on a still very young squad.
And David, do you know why they're saying Champions League? Because I think this went against Poch as well. I think this went against Poch. That seeing how the league finished and seeing how Villa basically didn't turn up for the last 6 weeks of the season, if he just made these changes like 5 games sooner or something like that, he had a real shot of possibly finishing 4th.
Have you guys thought about this? The pressure that they're putting on your manager, your next manager, to get Champions League football and to compete for trophies. I also genuinely believe it's their financial issues. Now, I know obviously Andrew and other Chelsea fans have argued about these financial issues a lot over the last year or so, but I think they realize that, we can't keep selling assets. We actually have to be good on the football pitch. So this is what I mean. They're desperate now. They're like, crap, we need to get into these positions so that financially we don't have to be selling off things. So financially, you guys can be better.
But let's face it, right? Billionaires, they're billionaires because they don't really like to spend money, right? Let's face it, right? They want this club to start making their money so when they do leave, they have something to make of it. They have to make this club successful because they will sell it. We know every Chelsea fan knows they will sell it in when that contract's up for 10 years and stuff like that. They will sell it. They need something to sell. But you're right. But okay, this is my thing to the board then. You're putting this pressure on the manager. Then I don't care what the age of the player is. I want them to be quality. I want them to be quality and ready to go into the first team from day one. So none of this like last time, 3 months waiting to sign Caicedo, you sign him right away. With Osimhen, if you want Osimhen, you sign him right away. You don't wait 3 months. You sign these players ready to go for the new manager, no matter what tournament they're in. Everything's ready to go. No excuse now. That's why all the pressure is on this board and on directors right now. If no Chelsea fan is putting pressure on them, or I don't know what they're expecting. Okay, so they need to get this right. But it doesn't make sense then if you're going to hire McKenna or Maresca, why you would say to them get Champions League football when they have never even played in Europe. They've been in a championship. So it doesn't make any sense you've hired them at all.
And this is why, when you're objective, and I get that some Chelsea fans are emotional because it's your club and it's different. When you're objective, I see the positives through getting rid of Poch. Not going to deny them. There are some that exist. David's explained some as well. But when I'm weighing everything up, and I also want to put this out there, a lot of Chelsea fans earlier on in our comment section mentioned this. This has also now just been revealed that Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart will lead the process to appoint Poch's successor and report back to the controlling owners, as you all know. The challenge I would have to this as a Chelsea fan is, well, you've hired the last two managers. It's not worked through a combination of them not being good enough. Poch's situation, clearly the communication hasn't been right, that he wants to be a manager a year in rather than a head coach. The people that have made the mistakes, you're now, again, I can only go back to what I've experienced and seen at other clubs. My biggest issue with not my biggest issue. Let me rephrase this. One of the elements that really frustrated me about the Glazers is they kept on letting Ed Woodward pick managers after he fouled and he fouled and he fouled. And if I put KJ in charge of recruiting me editors, and every editor he recruits for me does a terrible job, when it comes to maybe the third time we need a new recruitment manager, a new editor, I am not letting KJ do it. I'm not, because what's the likelihood that we're going to get another person who's, by the way, KJ's never messed up like that. This is very hypothetical.
I've given us many good editors. Thank you very much.
You have given some very good editors, to be honest with you. But the point is, when I read these things, Chelsea fans, don't forget about this in a few weeks. The people that appointed Poch are still in charge. You're looking at young and inexperienced manager with no Champions League experience whatsoever. But you're also going to demand that they qualify for the Champions League and win trophies. Now, I understand people will say we have to have standards. You also have to be goddamn realistic. You have to be realistic in this. I want to get another neutral view before I go to Alex. Samuel, what do you make of all this, bro?
I mean, I'm just as confused as Chelsea fans because I'm on the one half. What I said at the beginning of the season about Chelsea has actually come to fruition. I actually said that they're going to sack Poch by the end of the season, and it actually happened. But now I'm in another confusion. It was like, wait, hold on. But what about the stability of the club? Why would you sack Poch? For me personally, now I do see both sides to it. But the one thing that I saw the writing of the wall, and Gal also said this as well. Me and Gal, one stream, we both said this. We said that the owners on the board have one idea, the manager has another idea, and the players have another idea. All three of them are not one mind. So when the owners want, at the beginning of the season, I remember there was a report that they were saying the owners want like under 25s only, or they're going to buy under 25s. And then Pochettino wanted experience. And then the players don't know what they're doing. You can already see that it was going to be messed up from the beginning. So fast forwarding onto now, it's kind of like, all right, they did have a run of games where they were playing okay from what David was saying and what Winter Soldier was saying. Or Andrew, sorry, I should be calling by your name, Andrew. But it's kind of like, okay, so these are the same guys that are recruiting the past two managers that you sacked. Do you have any trust in them?
I don't think they did Potter. They didn't do Potter.
They didn't do Potter, but
no, that was Todd Bowley. That was Bowley himself. Well, but the problem is, Samuel, they vetted Poch for 2 months. This wasn't a week or a 2 week thing. And this is why I get no sympathy with Poch either, because he knew what was going in for. They both lied to each other, essentially, I think, in that interview. You know, they both said the same thing, and then Poch has started to turn during the season. But that I don't know. I think Alex agrees with me. Probably David would have got rid of directors as well. They would have gone today as well for me. They would have gone today as well for me. They have not. don't trust. They're for me. They're just scouts in a high performance job for me. These two. That's what
Do you know
they're
what it is?
good at scouting. That's it.
I look at it as like, you see, on my situation with Liverpool, even though I did say from the statement before that I don't think we're going to be winning a league or Champions League in the next 3 years. The one thing about it is that I can trust my board though. Michael Edwards, I can sit back and have a track record that he's done quite well with signings and other things. But with Chelsea, I from the general consensus that I can see from you guys, you don't trust your board. So, like, for me, going forward, it's kind of like, well, there's no signs of you actually changing and actually making things better. It's like it's just repeating the same mistakes.
They have to do the toughest and easiest job at the same time to get Chelsea fans on board. That's hire a manager who does his job properly. It's the hardest job in football probably to do. But they are just one decision away from getting everything off their back. That's what they are. They're just one decision away.
To me personally, the one thing that is good about this is I'd rather our club and owners be 100% wrong than 50-50. I'd rather they believe, if the whole thing is we want to be youth project, build on them, give them experience and so on and so forth, do it 100%. Don't go, we're going to make a squad of young players, but then get an older manager who wants older experienced players. Don't do that. I'd rather you go, do you know what? We're going to go 100% in with this, and we're going to get a young manager who's going to play these young players and improve them over the time, then build it that way, then go 50-50.
Also, Terry, could you just bring up that quote again about the expectations that the owners have, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous? Yeah, like, this just shows me that I understand standards. You need to have standards, and Chelsea are a big club, but they're not looking at the realistic view of where Chelsea are at right now. It's just, you're putting so much pressure on the next manager to do something that other managers couldn't do.
But do you know what I'm thinking, Samuel? And I said it earlier. I'm thinking they thought how this Premier League turned out, if Poch had made changes sooner, they had a real shot of finishing fourth. I think that's what they're thinking. And that's probably one of the things that went against him as well. That's what I'm thinking. Why, if it only took an inverted left back who he had these players predominantly to do that this season, it only took that to make us play well and get wins, then why wasn't it done sooner? Yeah. And look at the way Villa hasn't been performing for about 6 weeks in the league. They could have been dropping points.
If we look at this from a positive point of view from Clear Lake, let's say they've done the right thing here. You could also find that maybe the football decision makers at your club looked at it and thought, we were only I know Chelsea fans were like hearing this, but we were only really winning because the pressure was off and there was nothing to play for. And, you know, I know that Ches sort of said, no, actually, we've been pretty good most of 2024. A lot of those draws you were having, like away at Sheffield United, none of that was good enough. And maybe there's an element in that where they went, you know what? That run was just because the pressure was off. We're removing you anyway. And if you decide to sack somebody in February, March, there is, again, if we're going to be positive about your owners here, you don't change your mind because of a month if you're genuinely convinced they've got to go. So I think you've got to look at it from both sides. Alex is with us. What are you saying, bro?
I saw a DM from you and I was like, something happened. I was in the line to pick up the kids from school and I was like, something happened. I got to go back to Twitter real quick. And I see the news. I was like, thank you, Terry. I was like, I wanted him out. I don't think he's Chelsea level. But the problem is it's not about getting him out. It's get him out. It's easy. It's who you hire. You learn something. Next manager has to be better. What we had on the list or what people are saying on the list, like, should I apply? Because they have a good record. The ones that are, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Like, I don't know those guys, so how am I supposed to know that Pochettino is worse than the other guy is gonna come in? Bring me somebody that actually has, bring me Mourinho. I want the misery between the board and them. I want somebody to bring Mourinho does not stop. He will bring the war between Winsley. Either Mourinho will leave or at least those two will leave. You see what I'm saying? That way I will know that something needs to be fixed. And Mourinho will bring that. I want somebody that has a track record. I'm I was never that Chelsea fan that wanted like, oh, we must play beautiful football. No, I like when everybody hated us. I like when we scored one goal just to piss you off because you had 75% possession. I love that. I love terrorist. I love counter-attacking style, directness of football. That's it. So for me, I never was on that. Oh, we must play like Barcelona and stuff like that. On the specific of the ownership, I don't know. Nobody knows. We all kind of guessing what Clear Lake doing. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we must get some money in the summer because we can't buy players." All of a sudden, we spend the billion. Everybody was like, "Well, I guess they didn't need to sell them out." Now everybody's saying, "We sold the state, we sold the hotel, we sold that. We need money." I don't think anybody knows what's going on with Chelsea, and that's the biggest problem because everybody's guessing. With those two specifically, what's the name, Stanley and the other guy, I'm looking at more at those, because those are the ones that whisper in the ownership's ears.
Yeah,
those
they're
are the
running
ones.
the club. They're running
exactly.
The club.
And for me, it's which one, like, because they got rid of that the main guy that left because Pochettino was appointed by those two. I forgot the name of the one. Not Nagelsmann, the other guy. I forgot one of the third guy.
Vavell.
Yeah.
Vavell. You see, Vavell didn't want what's the name for Pochettino to come.
Yeah.
And he quit.
Yeah. I get that, Matty, because I want to go to some super chat. So what you saying, Matty? I know you've been very outspoken about Chelsea this season, as ever, which is great. What do you make of the sacking of Poch this evening?
Oh, dear me. Why does that not surprise me? Everybody is telling me, oh, this ownership is God's work. And I said to you for months on end that Pochettino is just the fall guy. It's the lunatics running the asylum yet again. And you could get Marie Curie to manage these lot and she'd still fail. I'm telling you now, it is absolutely bonkers that we are living in this decade where we've gone through 5 managers, $1 billion spent, and we're still no closer to top 4. Can I just remind you, Roman Abramovich actually won a trophy in his first season, and yet people say to me, he's done nothing. He did nothing at Chelsea. Okay, right, okay. Like I've said, until we get some standards in this football club and actually get a winning mentality manager, we're going nowhere. I don't want McKenna. I don't want any of these young men because, again, you're going to get a young and experienced manager who's won nothing to manage a group of kids. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like having a year 9 managing a load of year 6s. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. I've said this. Get me Hansi Flick. He's got to be on there. And if we have to go for a young man, it has to be Amorim. If not, I'm done. Like I've said this before, we need experience to balance the inexperience. But, you know, I'm waiting for these toxic, positive Chelsea fans to come at me yet again next season and say, you're a loser. But yeah, I've been proven right again, haven't I? If only I said 6th instead of 10th, I would have got lottery numbers right as well, but never mind. But you know,
I mean, 6th and 10th is a dramatically different. Like you weren't all right. Like that's not.
Yeah. Well, you know, look, I don't claim to be Mystic Meg. I don't know everything, David.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, at least I've actually come on here and said, look, you know, I knew Pochettino was the fall guy from day one. This ownership only wants a yes man and somebody that only adheres to their model. Nobody bar Pep, really. Yeah, but I mean, come on. Mourinho even got his signings when he was under Abramovich. Even Carlo Ancelotti did, and they won trophies. So
Ancelotti,
I mean,
he did not get his signings. He did not get his signings. He did not want Torres.
If you're a
He did
Chelsea, if you're a Chelsea fan and you want like Mourinho, Tuchel, Ancelotti, like all these guys, I think you are part of the problem. Because if you look at what our club currently is, the experienced manager don't work. Because the
but we're only going down though, David.
Manager wants experienced players.
So
that experienced manager you want, he's going to have to come in another like 3 years.
I see people.
Hold on. I'm just saying the current owners are not that one thing they have made very clear. They are not going to change what they are doing. So to demand those owners to go get someone who only want experienced players doesn't make sense as well. That makes as much sense as the board does as of today.
Didn't
as I said, though,
didn't the
David,
same board fire
we are in a
Tuchel and got
situation-
experienced players before?
We're in a situation where
David,
quite simply, we have to wait to see what happens.
David,
It's
didn't
too
the
early.
same board
It's too
got
early to say whether it's good or bad.
didn't
That's
the
the problem.
same board
Too early.
got Tuchel sacked, and before that they hired the most all experienced players? Didn't they got the Koulibalis, Sterling before?
Yeah, but that was Todd Bowley making signings. And they were bad
so that's
signings.
different. We're supposed to
Yeah,
forget
it is
this thing.
different.
Okay,
That is obviously it's different.
Okay.
If you have some, that'd
Like-
be like that doesn't make sense because that would be like hammering Ineos for signing like signing their players and then
What I was
using
trying
Ed
to say
Woodward,
that this
signing
ownership
Ed
changed.
Woodward transfers. That doesn't make
No,
sense.
my point
Wait.
is that ownership changed the plans. They
Yeah.
able to. So
No,
you're
no,
saying,
no.
"Oh my God, it's impossible." They've done it in 2 years.
When Todd
Can I-
Bowley bought the club, it was like it wasn't meant to happen. That happened. because of
You know,
No,
it wasn't
let me
meant to
fi- let me
happen.
finish, Let me finish, man. Let me finish. He got the club after a war, and like the war wasn't meant
After
to happen.
war,
Like, bro, no. the
Wow,
war-
blood, sweat, and tears
and
went
the
into that one.
Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point? Right. My point is, Todd Bowley got the club when there was a war, and then the club got sold in like 12 weeks. That doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't happen ever. So of course, in that first window, he weren't prepared. But then when we brought in the with Stanley, Stuart, Vivell, and all these guys, there has been a plan, and they are sticking
even
to
that
Hold
plan
on,
didn't
hold
work
on.
because
Can I-
Bebel left.
Now,
Even
guys,
that plan that you saying didn't work because
Can I-
Bebel left.
Nothing,
Can I-
guys. Just want us to sorry, I just want to because I've got to go to super chat for the end of this stream. But like, look, let's just be honest. So far, none of the plans have worked. I mean, it's. I think that's pretty fair. We could round up on that.
Can I put one point out, Terry?
Yeah, very
please?
very quickly, and then I've got to go to super chats, mate. Go on.
Sorry, mate. I want to know, when do these sporting directors actually take some form of blame here? When do they get their P45s? Because at the end of the day, Pochettino apparently ran the entire interview. Have you ever been to a job interview and you actually run the interview? Like, and actually orchestrate the interview? I don't think so.
Well, this is why
KJ did that with Terry.
This
KJ
is why,
definitely
guys,
did that with Terry.
but this is why I think arguing over before and after win Stanley, I think it's all nonsense because as the tweet we showed you guys earlier, sorry, it's this one. No, this one here. Stuart and Win Stanley are going to run the process again. So it doesn't matter whether it's those that made the mistake or Todd Bowley. It's all the same group of people essentially that have messed up. That have given you 5 managers in 2 years. Let's go to these super chats here. First one says, "Truth is, what has Poch shown in terms of results? What has he won to put up him up there with the big managers? Was a long time ago that he was good with Tottenham and won nothing still. He's a failure," is what Levi says. A lot of people think that about him, and I understand that point of view. This is what you get when treating their club like a hedge fund. It's football, not finance. Don thinks they'll challenge. Give them 250 to 1 odds. Is that you betting Don? Listen, do you know what? I'll have that bet with Don, and I'll make it more in Don's favor. If Chelsea challenge next season, and challenge means with 3 games to go, they can win the league mathematically. I'll pay Don £500. If they don't, he pays me £250. If Don's watching, you want to have that bet, I'll have it with him. It's be having ya. Who's the worst, Woodward or Egbali? Look, I'm going to say Woodward because I'm biased on that. Like, I'm going to own that one.
Equal.
Poch to United is a possibility now, although I'm not very positive about it as United fan, but I can see it happening.
This actually has implications for our club, Terry, because this might I think this might make Ineos not sack Ten Hag, because they're seeing the absolute merry-go-round and scrambling that all these other clubs are doing, and they might want to save face and be like, you know what, we'd rather wait. I hope that's not the case.
KJ, stability.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. But like this actually implicates Man United. And if we do sack Ten Hag, again, Poch is now an option. And
What's madness?
How Ten Hag has a job and Poch doesn't is wild.
Yeah, that's madness.
Yeah,
That's
but
madness to me.
it's because, no, it isn't. We've got the FA Cup final. I
Yeah,
think
exactly. You would have gone. Yeah.
if our season ended on Sunday, I think it'd be the same. No full pre-season with the Euros and Copa either. This is true. God's Will here says, I watched the Liga and how is this guy's name pronounced?
Mikel.
See, I just got 3 fucking different ways asking it.
It's not
Michael.
It's not Mikel.
Michelle.
Michael.
I'm gonna call him Mickey, right? Mickey
Mouse.
Mickey's serious. 2 seasons going now. The Stuttgart manager is serious too. When you put that little beat in on the end,
Nah.
when I see it in English, I get it. I looked at it, went, nah, right. He's serious too. Poch being sacked is not the end of the world. Fans are just so fickle. Joe, I don't think it's so much that. And listen, maybe those 2 managers are good enough. But maybe they are, but they're not the experience that a lot of Chelsea fans think they need. McKenna isn't qualified for the job. However, saying he's not good enough is BS. He's just unproven. His Ipswich team plays great football.
To be fair,
Rubbish.
before
I don't
this
even
season,
know who's
before
McKenna
this
is.
season, Xabi Alonso hadn't managed a game.
That sounds like 70s
And this time in 12 months, people could be off Alonso because Leverkusen have a bad year. Like people are fickle. That bit is so true. Poch convinced me in the last couple of games that he can get results. So I thought we'll give him next season at least. I'm more convinced about the squad's reaction after they bonded with him. And now he's gone.
So that'll be interesting.
5 games over 32. Okay.
Yeah.
No
Poch was not sacked. He walked mutually. Yeah, when people believe that, they'll believe anything. Todd Bowley doesn't want managers to control transfers. Don't know which good managers will agree to such a scenario unless they're desperate. But that isn't true, though, Gooner Lounge. And I'll tell you as to why they can have an input. But there's multiple clubs across Europe where anywhere where you see head coach, that's the situation.
Arnie Slot.
Pep Guardiola doesn't have it. LB spoke about it earlier on the show that he said it himself about what's his name, Doku. The manager said earlier on in the season, where have we found this guy? Where did we pull him from? Pep had no idea who he was, which tells you he hasn't got full control and impact over signings. It's very normal. Your club, Arsenal, like Arteta has a say and pushes for things, but Edu runs a show in that regard. It's very normal. It's very, very normal. Potts did enough to get the last few games to get the job after this. Trust me, can't say the same about Ten Hag after this season. But I wouldn't be having a micro penis competition, man. It's one of them ones. Could buy and go for Potts now. Kane and Potts reunion. Look, they could. They definitely could come in for him now.
His people put that out. That was so his people putting it out, linked to buy him today. That was such his people.
Yeah, very much. Fake outrage, knock it off. 30 games, no style of play. I don't think it's even people are worried about Poch per se. It's that you're now looking to go in a different direction with a different type of manager with even higher expectations straight away. I think that's the concern for some people. It's not kind of marrying.
No, it's what crap we're going to get next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Poch got himself sacked. It's clear they have made too many mistakes as an quote unquote experienced manager. A quote unquote experienced manager. He's not good enough tactical. He's not sound enough. He cuddles the players too much. He mismanaged the players, is what the invisible quote says.
He didn't. Well, the players are actually very shocked that he's gone, and they actually wanted him to stay. So I don't see how he's mismanaged the players.
Yeah,
so.
You know why? He didn't hold them accountable enough. That's the problem. He didn't hold them accountable enough.
They got better. They got
I
better.
don't mean like publicly. I don't mean publicly. I think
naturally players become better when you play with the season. Natural player with ambitions will become better.
Have you seen our team? Have you seen our team in the full season?
I don't watch you, KJ. I don't watch your team.
What we'll do though, let's focus on the viewers for a minute because you've got to timestamp this super chat, KJ. That's what you've got to do here.
Keep the zippy away from my club. Keep him away.
Man, like pasta, we'll be coming for you. Zerbi is the manager, yes.
Let's see if that one happens. Let's go to the super chat here from Gav. Gav says, proof in the pudding. We'll see who they hire after their 6-month review. What has Chelsea's board done to their fans? Congratulations on the 12th place finish next season. Ridiculous decision, and may it continue forever. The Invisible Cloak also says, all this old as fan talking about experience. Is Xavi Alonso experienced? Is a moron experienced? A good young manager with food will
Good backing.
with good backing, will win enough as this crap.
So he's basically saying
Alonso,
He's as good. It's basically as good as his spelling, basically.
Yeah, but
So that's all I'm going to say.
But the thing is, Alonso is an anomaly. Like Pep, when he came into the job at Barcelona, was an anomaly. You can say Arteta, with the time that it's taken to get to it, is an anomaly. They ain't normal. It ain't normal.
I would say Alonso is an anomaly. I wouldn't say Pep was an anomaly. Pep got a really good team from Barcelona.
No, but Pep's an anomaly. Pep's an anomaly. How many managers in their first job do what he does? He's an anomaly. He shouldn't be the rule and the benchmark.
Oh, well, Ronaldinho in the team, and okay, I see.
But he can still fail with those managers. He managed.
But other managers, very quickly. I've really got to finish. So I need to get through this. How many other managers, Alex, do you think could take over one of the biggest teams and the best squads in the world as their first job and do what Pep did?
I don't know, but I just don't give credit everything to Pep.
So the question
like Pep is an anomaly.
But you just said he was an anomaly. You don't know how many. The point is, only a handful of managers could do it. Therefore, that makes them an anomaly by definition. If we only believe that a handful of managers ever could have done it, that's an anomaly. Experienced managers are used to having control in the market. Chelsea have taken a step back. They do and they don't. True. You gain influence. So the longer you're at a club and the better you do. Klopp's got more and more experience. This is the irony. Klopp got more and more control, and their recruitment went backwards. It's not a good thing. Not a good thing. Hansi Flick or Almiron is who I think maybe Chelsea will get. But had Hansi Flick got Fulham games, we have Hansi Flick at Fulham games, which is close to Chelsea, and Almiron private jet rumours. Well, the Almiron private jet rumours are true. Chelsea paid for that. It all just got played down. To be fair, Man United, Chelsea spent years ruining their teams by spunking money up the wall on manager signings, and it was ruining both of the football clubs. Listen, with Man United side of things, I get where you're coming from with that. This is shit news for United fans because I'm thinking Chelsea will go straight to Roberto De Zerbi. Loads of ex-Brighton players already. But remember, De Zerbi is leaving Brighton because he wants control over transfers. So let's remember that element when we all think, I don't think either is going to get him unless he changes his mind. Does this mean that Chelsea get De Zerbi? As of right now, there's zero links to him at Chelsea. It doesn't mean they won't, but as of now, zero links. Look, boys, I want to thank you all for coming on. Viewers, you've been absolutely amazing. Sorry to everyone who's backstage that we couldn't get on the show. To all the super chatters, you've been great. Go and check out the Football Terrace Telegram group chat where lots of transfer stories, rumours and links will be shared throughout the course of the summer. It's free. You won't get any spam in there either because only we can post in it. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.